Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the State of the College Address. This is the time of year when we reflect on our achievements as well as the opportunities ahead. Today, President Olson will deliver the State of the College Address, and before we begin, I'd like to note that when President Olson arrived in at Daemen in 2013, the Board of Trustees asked him to focus on a number of initiatives, including growing the college, growing our endowment and increasing fundraising efforts, and increasing our visibility. Of all of his challenges, I believe that President Olson enjoys increasing our visibility more than anything. Visibility is a great thing as long as things are going well. So how did we know that things were going well? Well, Dr. Olson undertook the challenge to assess the work environment at the college, and it resulted in Daemen being named one of the best places to work. We know that we continue to have challenges, and maybe sometimes we wish certain things would change, but I think we all know that Daemen is a great place to work. When we look around, many of us have been here for many years, and we're friends and colleagues. We know each other's families. We know about each other's children and our challenges. But through this initiative, Dr. Olson made certain that the whole world knows that Daemen is a great place. To the President, showcasing others' achievements is a joy. Knowing Dr. Olson, I suspect that he especially enjoys telling anyone who will listen about the wonderful things happening at Daemen College. I'm delighted to welcome President Olson to present the State of the College Address.
Thank you, Dr. Flint. Always very gracious. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's really great to see you all again. I hope you've been enjoying a productive and rewarding academic year. I think you'll be really excited about all the positive change that's happened since the fall address in September. We're continuing to recruit first-rate and high-level members of the Daemen College Board of Trustees who will help lead us into the future. I'd like to introduce to you, in their absence, 4 of our newest trustees. David Anderson is the president and CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York. Dennis Elzenbach is the regional executive of National Grid's Western Division. And Sandra Spicer is the president and CEO of Spicer Group, a commercial general construction company that she co-founded when she was only 18 years old. And Joette Zaccanino is a developer and a portfolio manager here in Western New York. Now, these new trustees will bring much experience to Daemen's already talented and impressive Board of Trustees, and we're really glad to have them. Now, many of you have met our interim vice president for institutional advancement, Deborah Scott. She's an experienced college advancement professional and a one-time employee, permanent employee one time, of Daemen. Most recently, she served as executive director of advancement at Victoria University and the University of Toronto. Deb, would you please stand and be recognized? There she is. A national search for a permanent vice president is well underway. The committee interviewed 11 semifinalists, and 6 finalists are scheduled to visit campus sometime this semester. I'd like to thank the members of the search committee for their hard work and diligence. Let me begin, as I traditionally do, with facilities and campus-wide developments. Thanks to one of our trustees, Rich Day, the college was able to purchase a single-family house on High Court, which is across from Daemen's Gettsville Main Street entrance. This allowed us to move the nuns who resided in one of our campus properties, 109 Gettsville, which, for those of you who have been around a while, was the former presidential residence during the Marshall years, from that campus property to the High Court house. Now, the house at 109 Gettsville will become the future home of all of institutional advancement. This, in turn, will allow us to house all, or almost all at least at first, of enrollment management in Rosary Hall, all of student affairs in Wick, and all of business affairs in Duns Scotus. And this move will also allow us to add additional parking spaces to a new lot behind Institutional Advancement Building thereby improving parking significantly on campus. Now, an architect is finalizing plans for the new parking lot, which will be behind the institutional advancement building. Should be about 70 some odd slots, so that'll help. As you know, for the last few years, the college has rented space at the Daemen building on Main Street to house our animation and visual effects programs. Now, we've determined that these programs would be better served if they were located on our main campus. This summer, we'll move the programs back to campus, thereby saving a substantial amount of money. The college was just awarded a $161,000 New York State Higher Education Capital Improvement Grant that will help fund continued improvements to the WIC Student Center, you saw a few of them as you walked in the form of lounge space, campus safety improvements, and backup generators in case of power outage. Also, I'm pleased to report that thanks to a creative arrangement with Hallmark Food Services and to another New York State grant, we'll be able to completely renovate and modernize the Cyber Cafe this summer. Now, here's what the present facility looks like. And as you can see, it's a bit dated. The new facility will be called the Den, and you can see on the screen what it will look like. This new multi-purpose space will feature nearly twice as many seats in a renovated recreation space that will provide great flexibility for the Daemen community. A rotating dining experience with greater variety will be available along with evening and weekend entertainment, believe it or not. The project is slated to begin right after graduation and to be completed by mid-August. Now, our Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Greg Nair, deserves credit for his hard work in creating the original vision for both of the renovation projects and then seeing them through. And I would ask him to stand right now, but that job that he has, Student Affairs, is always one where you're putting out fires left and right, and he is putting out a fire right now. So in his absence, Dr. Nair, thank you. At the fall address, I announced a new initiative. I pointed out that for many years, our science faculty have waited patiently while other academic areas on campus have been renovated, retrofitted, and rebuilt. And I said that now it's the time to turn our attention to this essential component of academic life at Daemen. And I announced that the renovation of the science facilities on the second and third floors of Duns Scotus will be a major institutional priority. We launched a focused effort to raise the external funds necessary to finance this long-needed and worthy project. And I instructed institutional advancement to make the renovation of our science wing a key focus of the college's comprehensive campaign, which, as you know, we're in the silent phase of. Now, they're actively seeking external funding for this important project. We have worked with our science faculty to determine what would be an appropriate initial project that the college could fund while we attempt to raise the external funds for the larger renovation project. And it was generally agreed that the renovation of the lecture hall known as Duns Scotus 336 was the highest priority. So I'm delighted to report that, barring unforeseen financial difficulties, we will renovate this important lecture hall this summer. And I know people on Duns Scotus second and third floors are really looking forward to that. Now, many people were involved in the discussions, but I'd like to single out for recognition our Director of Facilities, Don Phillips, for playing a central role in planning these renovations. Don, would you rise and be recognized? I know you're here somewhere. There he is. As I did in the fall, I asked our science faculty to continue to be patient, though. This project may take time, and a lot more time than any of us would like, because it depends on external funding. But we'll continue to make it a priority. Not long ago, we sent a pretty hefty proposal to a local concern that actually invited us to. So we're looking forward to getting the money one way or another. As I mentioned in September, a major priority of the college for the last 2 years has been to overhaul the institution's website, so I'm especially happy to report that in the fall semester, we launched a completely new, modern, streamlined site. Now, a modern, attractive, informative website is perhaps the single most important factor in making college competitive, for prospective students. And I believe that our new site will go a long way in showcasing the college to that audience in particular, and I hope you've been enjoying it. We're tweaking it as it goes along, of course. As you know, Daemen is nearing the end of a year-long process leading to the reaffirmation of accreditation through the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. And many of you spent many months preparing a comprehensive self-study as part of that process. The text of the self-study was finished over the summer and made available for review to the entire college community, including the Board of Trustees. And the visiting team chair, Dr. Valerie Collins, who is the VP for Academic Affairs at Malloy College in Long Island, visited campus at the end of September and met with a wide cross-section of constituents, including a few board members. The site visit team visited the campus this month and announced at a public forum that some of you were at that they were very pleased with what the college has done. Almost every one of us played some role in this process, but I especially want to thank the members of the steering committee, including the 3 co-chairs of the committee. Would all the members of the steering committee, the whole committee, please stand and be recognized. Throughout the year, a task force has been investigating the possibility of making Daemen a tobacco-free campus. All campus constituents were surveyed, and the committee sponsored an open town hall forum to solicit feedback. The committee recently presented me with a formal recommendation that Daemen become fully tobacco-free. And the committee also provided language for a new policy. Now, the cabinet met and chose to support the new policy unanimously. So I'm announcing today that we've decided to accept all of these recommendations, and the new policy will go into effect with the next academic year. I'd like to ask the members of that task force to stand and be recognized. Is this task force? I reported to you at the fall address about our ongoing efforts to vastly improve campus safety, including our upgrading external lighting, implementing a new training program for all of our campus security authorities, and introducing a new motorized vehicle that allows officers to respond rapidly to calls for help, and creating a new crisis management plan. Now, during this winter break, we installed an additional 80 high-definition surveillance cameras, and we installed locks on all the classrooms and labs, which, as you know, is especially important in the event of an active shooter scenario. Other new measures to improve campus safety include establishing new, easy-to-remember campus safety telephone number that will enable people to call campus safety. You've got to remember the number before you can call. And distributing to students cell phone pockets with plastic inserts that remind students what to do if there is an emergency. And also, now when campus mass alerts go out, they will be displayed on a desktop takeover, ensuring that messages are not missed by anyone. This new Alertist software is what it's called, was installed on all the Daemen-owned computer equipment. And in an emergency, it will display a prominent message on all campus screens in classrooms, computer labs, and offices. Now, as I mentioned in the fall, Daemen is considered a leader, both regionally and nationally, in campus sexual assault prevention. And so I'm especially pleased to announce a partnership with Crisis Services of Buffalo, in which that organization will provide us with a campus-based advocate 2 days per week. This new professional, funded by a grant through Crisis Services, will provide leadership in education, outreach, and support of sexual assault violence prevention, and will help support other health and wellness initiatives as well. Also, I'm pleased to tell you about a new arrangement with the management of Musical Fair. As you know, that nonprofit organization leases a building on our campus. Now, beginning immediately, Daemen departments will be able to schedule events and activities at Musical Fair if and when space and time is available. This arrangement includes the organization's rehearsal room, main auditorium, and newly constructed cabaret. And those wishing to make use of these opportunities must coordinate, though, with Margene Weiss, Daemen's Director of Conferences and Events. She needed more work to do, so we figured this would help. I'd like to thank Randy Kramer for his collegiality and willingness to work toward an arrangement that benefits both of our great institutions. So Randy, would you rise and be recognized? We're continuing to have success raising the college's visibility and reputation. We gained substantial national attention when U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who, by the way, is coming back to campus soon, announced in February that Daemen College has endorsed her bipartisan Campus Accountability and Safety Act, becoming the first private college in the nation to add its name in support of the bill. And we gained significant statewide coverage when the governor, for the second consecutive year, chose Daemen as the site of the Western New York regional presentation of his priorities outlined in the State of the State address. Samuel Roberts, who is the commissioner of New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, made the presentation here in February. The governor also chose Daemen to host the second meeting of his Common Core Task Force, which was established to review and make recommendations to overhaul the current Common Core system and the way students are tested. And this task force included Dr. Nancy Zimfer, Chancellor of the SUNY system, and New York State Commissioner of Education and Daemen alum, Mary Ellen Elia. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul also visited Daemen recently, holding a public event about progress being made by colleges statewide to implement the governor's Enough is Enough law. She publicly praised Daemen College as a statewide leader in campus sexual assault prevention efforts. And that was noticed not just in the state, but throughout the region. And Lieutenant Governor made a second much publicized visit to campus to do a tour of our Academic and Wellness Center, which, as you know, houses state-of-the-art learning spaces for health-related academic programs and fitness and recreational areas. Also, Dr. Catherine Fisher Collins, the newly appointed member of the New York State Board of Regents, visited campus and shared her vision for education with key members of the college leadership. And I should comment that having support among the regents is key to obtaining approval for a number of future initiatives that we're planning. Similarly, New York State Education Commissioner Mary Ellen Elia, again, a Daemen alum, visited campus and gave a formal talk as part of the Distinguished Leaders Lecture Series. And also having close relationships with the commissioner is a good idea for getting some of our future initiatives in as well. As part of the Distinguished Leaders Lecture Series, the college sponsored a public forum where key leaders discussed issues on race on campus, college campuses. Panelists included Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown, Dr. Catherine Fisher Collins of the New York State Education Department Board of Regents, and Dr. Catherine Conway Turner, president of SUNY Buff State, and Dr. Cynthia Zane, president of Hilbert College, as well as myself. And this program garnered substantial attention, including from a prominent legal firm that offered to underwrite the series going forward. So that's always good news. Also, as part of the Distinguished Leaders Lecture Series, an international expert on nuclear nonproliferation, David Jonas, discussed the U.S.-Iran nuclear deal aimed at limiting Iran's nuclear production capability in exchange for lifting of economic sanctions. And in early March, Ed Cox, the chair of the New York State Republican Party and son-in-law of the late President Richard Nixon, provided his professional analysis of the national primary campaigns. Also speaking at Daemen was U.S. Congressman Chris Gibson of New York, a decorated Army war veteran and member of the House Armed Services Committee, who shared his vision and a proposed strategy to counter national security threats. And a few other speakers, the renowned legal scholar John Q. Barrett, who is a noted expert on Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson, who's the chief prosecutor of the Nazi war criminals in Germany, spoke about the Nuremberg trials. An expert on post-Holocaust Jewish culture, Dr. Erika Lehr, spoke about Jewish heritage tourism and its resurgence in Poland. And a distinguished professor of modern European history and a West Virginia University faculty member, Dr. Robert Blobaum, spoke on the legacy of World War I. Now, all of these speakers bring a great deal of attention to us, and Dr. Flint mentioned how important it is to get the name out there, and this is helping. And except for those last few academic speakers, every one of those speakers came here for free. No fees, nothing. So that's that's what we look for. Also, an important part of the college's visibility derives from awards and distinctions that the college earns. Last month, Best Value Schools named Daemen one of the 50 Best Value Small Colleges, which is a distinction that places it in the top 15 small institutions in the nation. Daemen is the only college in the Buffalo-Niagara region included on the list, and we rank number 14 on the 2016 roster of Best Value Schools nationally. And the rankings, by the way, are based on net price, retention rate, graduation rate, and class size. I'm delighted to report that for the 7th consecutive year, Daemen was named a top military-friendly school in the nation by Victory Media. This national distinction is awarded to the top colleges and universities in the country that are doing the most to embrace student veterans and that have dedicated resources to ensure the success not only in the classroom, but after graduation. Also, the American Heart Association has named Daemen for the 3rd consecutive year as a fit, friendly workplace in recognition of the college's commitment to providing physical activity and wellness activities for employees. And earlier this month, Buffalo Business First named Daemen one of the best businesses to work for in the region. We were the only college in any size category to win this distinction, and that's, of course, the 2nd time in 3 years that we got that one. An important part of the college's visibility derives from the regional and national recognition of our faculty and staff. Our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Michael Brogan, has been appointed to serve on the editorial board of a prestigious scholarly journal, Wounds. Now, this journal is widely read by surgeons, internal medicine and primary care physicians, and researchers for cutting-edge information on the treatment of wounds. I should also note that Trustee Tom Stewart is also a member of the editorial board of Wounds. So, Dr. Brogan, would you stand and be recognized? I guess he must be reading manuscripts somewhere, I don't know. The Council for Advancement and Support of Education, which is the National Association for Advancement Professionals, has selected Daemen's Director of Institutional Communication, Paula Witherell, to receive the 2016 Gold Accolade Award for Excellence in News Writing. Paula, I know you're here, so would you stand and be recognized? Dr. Joseph Senko, Associate Professor of Political Science and Director of African Initiatives at Daemen, has been elected President of the Fulbright Association Western New York and Western Pennsylvania chapter. This regional Fulbright Association chapter is one of 60 across the country that provides opportunities to be actively involved with the prestigious Fulbright program, which supports international exchange of scholars. Dr. Senko, would you stand and be recognized? Dr. Michelle Flint, Chair of Accounting, Business Administration, and Paralegal Studies, an Associate Professor of Accounting, has been selected for the prestigious Fulbright Specialist Program, which connects U.S. scholars and professionals with counterparts at institutions overseas. Dr. Flint, your turn to stand and be recognized. Margene Weiss, Daemen's Director of Conference and Events, has been appointed to the Board of Directors of the Council for the Advancement of Standards in Higher Education, which is a national organization of more than 100,000 professionals that develops and promotes assessment standards in student affairs, student services, and student development programs. Margene, would you stand and be recognized? There she is in the back. Our Athletics Director, Attorney Bridget Nyland, won this year's Athena Young Professional Leadership Award, and we're very proud of her many leadership accomplishments, both here at Daemen and in the community. And Buffalo Law Journal recently published a feature story entitled Bridget Nyland, Energizing Daemen Athletics, which highlights her contributions as the college's Director of Athletics and the institution's transition to NCAA Division II. Bridget, if you're here, would you please stand and be recognized? The college's Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management and Dean of Admissions, Frank Williams, was the honoree at the 43rd Annual Buffalo Black Achievers Award dinner. This award recognizes individuals that have made significant contributions in various career endeavors. Frank, would you stand and be recognized? Now, these are just some of the many awards and distinctions that our faculty and staff have earned this year. Would you help me applaud the many that I did not mention today? And I'm sure there are many. I'm pleased to report that after a national search, we appointed the college's first ever Director of Diversity and Multicultural Affairs, Alvin J. Roberts III. He directs outreach efforts to and support of our minority population, and we hope that his efforts will have a positive effect on student retention and on campus climate. Alvin, would you stand and be recognized? There he is. I'm also pleased to report that after a national search, we appointed the college's new Director of Research and Information Commons, Melissa Peterson. Melissa, would you stand and be recognized? Now, there are many exciting developments in athletics, but I'll mention just one. As you know, Daemen is in the first year as an NCAA Division II team and the only Division II team in the whole region. And astonishingly, given that it's our first year, the men's basketball team earned a spot in the East Coast Conference playoffs. Now, this is a real tribute both to Coach McDonald and to our entire very talented team. The team finished second to St. Thomas Aquinas for the championship. So, Coach McDonald, I know you're here. Would you rise and be recognized? He's right in the back. Now, I want to point out that over the last 2 years, you've seen many improvements in athletics programming and facilities. And all of these improvements have been brought about thanks to the entrepreneurial staff and leadership. And they're aggressively generating new operating funds through concession sales, camps, and corporate sponsorships, which has enabled them to make these improvements without using college resources. So would all of the athletics professionals in the audience please rise and be recognized so we can applaud your efforts? Finally, I'd like to recognize faculty who this year have obtained board approval for tenure and promotion. There are 8 candidates. I ask each candidate to rise when I call his or her name and to remain standing, and I ask that we hold our applause until I name all 8. The first is Lisa Bell, who was promoted to Associate Professor of Nursing with tenure. Is Lisa here? Okay. Next is Dr. John Good, who is promoted to Associate Professor in Natural Sciences with tenure. There he is. Next is Dr. Dominique Diamore, who is promoted to Associate Professor of Natural Sciences with tenure. Next is Dr. Nicole Shamira, who was promoted to Associate Professor of Athletic Training. Next is Dr. Ronald Schenk, who was promoted to Professor of Physical Therapy. Next is Dr. Shirley Peterson, who is promoted Professor of English. Next is Dr. Andrew Wise, who is promoted to Professor of Political Science. And finally is Dr. Robert Moraes, Professor of English, who was named Daemen College's first distinguished professor. Help me applaud and congratulate these talented Daemen professors. Now, as you can see, we're continuing to make substantial progress and are more and more, as Dr. Flint pointed out, a college of national distinction. I continue to keep you informed on a regular basis about events as things warranted. And in fact, I hope you will attend an open forum that I'll be holding on Monday, April 18th at 3:30 in this room. Please come, and it'll be completely open. No, it won't be a speech. It'll be questions and answers. Now, this ends the formal spring State of the College address. I would now like to turn to my favorite part of the agenda, which is the presentation of this year's Outstanding Faculty and Staff Awards. Each year, the college recognizes one faculty member, one staff member, and one administrator as the year's most outstanding members of the Daemen community. Each of the 3 winners receives a check for $500 and a coveted permanent raise of $500. Now, let's begin with the Outstanding Staff Award. As with the two other award committees, the Staff Award Committee was composed of accomplished individuals who've received the award in the past 5 years. Now, please help me thank the committee for their hard work in helping to choose a winner. Our staff recipient has been described by nominees as someone who holds to a very high standard, works overtime without complaint, is dedicated to the division and the college, and always works hard to help students, faculty, and staff. The award winner is conscientious and thoughtful, respectful and courteous, and has excellent organizational skills, which is always handy. Please join me in congratulating the 2016 Outstanding Staff Member, Karen Cash. Karen's going to say a few words.
I promise, just a few words, because as most of you know, I'm rarely at a loss for words. I'm so grateful for this award. Basically, I just wanted to say when I started here and I was interviewing, I said I wasn't just looking for a job, I was looking for a work home. And that's what I found here at Daemen, a family, a great place to work. And I just want to say that it's an honor to work with all of you, and I come here, and it's a joy to be here, and I absolutely love working with the Student Affairs team, and all of you. Just want to say thank you very much.
It's a well-deserved award. Now, next is the 2016 Outstanding Administrator Award. Please help me thank the committee for their hard work in helping to choose a winner. The recipient is a highly visible professional on campus. Our winner always makes time for people who need assistance, is willing to meet and work with anyone, always makes time to return calls promptly, and makes every effort to find reasonable solutions to problems. The recipient is highly regarded by colleagues and has contributed substantially to helping the college increase student retention. The 2016 Outstanding Administrator Award goes to Mr. Jeff Pagano. He didn't know ahead of time, I promise.
Honestly, I didn't.
Unless he's got a bug in my office. He's right next door.
Usually I'm doing FAFSA presentations. Actually, they're much easier than sitting up here in front of my colleagues. But thank you, Dr. Olson, and thank you to the committee members and those of you who nominated me, which I don't know who you are, but I appreciate that. As many of you know, I've had the privilege of working here at Daemen College and being part of the Daemen family for a number of years. I won't tell you how many they are, but it's quite a few now. But individual awards like this are only possible when you're surrounded by good people, okay? So I'd like to thank all the good people that have helped me with my success. I'd like to thank obviously my financial aid office and all the good people that work for me and all the different departments and all of you folks out there that have supported me over the years. Again, without all of the support of the good people, these individual awards really aren't possible. So, additionally, I'd like to thank my wife, Kim. As all of you know, Kim's been here at Daemen College a number of years, and without her, I wouldn't be here, okay? So I thank you for kind of bringing me along and bringing me onto Daemen. So again, thank you to all of you for recognizing me with this year's Outstanding Administrator Award. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Next and finally is the 2016 Outstanding Faculty Award. Now, please help me thank the committee for their hard work in helping to choose a winner. The recipient is described as a natural-born teacher who brings a great deal of knowledge and dedication to the college. Our winner is enthusiastic about course material, provides students with true out-of-classroom learning, stays current with teaching pedagogy, and works tirelessly on behalf of students. The recipient has developed several service learning experiences for students, has established a number of relationships for student exchange opportunities, and has been instrumental in developing 2 master's programs. Please help me congratulate the well-deserving winner of the 2016 Outstanding Faculty Award, Dr. Justine Tatuska.
I just want to say thank you, especially to the committee for accepting the nomination and considering me for this. And thank you to everybody. And I agree, I don't think we could do our jobs as well as we do without each other. And especially I want to thank the Healthcare Studies Department, who I have a feeling had something to do with the nomination. I know that this is here to recognize individuals, but I really think it's more representative of the Healthcare Studies Department and the work that we do together. So thank you.
So once again, please help me applaud our 3 award winners. I'd like to thank each and every one of you again for being here today and for everything you do every day to make our college such a great place. I look forward to seeing you all at commencement on May 21st. And now I'd like to invite everyone to join our trustees, me, Dr. Worsham, and all of our other colleagues for refreshments and stimulating conversation. And by the way, don't forget the open forum on Monday, April 18th at 3:30. I hope to see you at both places. Thank you for being here.